The greatest power you possess is your ability to choose. Join Lowe's Moore as he reveals how you can begin to maximize that power by exploring yourself on the deepest levels and committing to making lasting and positive changes. Get ready to achieve breakthroughs that will lead to accelerated growth and transformation, because you are now tuned in to The Blueprint.
Why they actions contradict the lamb. I'm fellowshipping when I'm with the fam. That's more relations, that's foreign and foreign.
Good evening and welcome back to the Blueprint Podcast. I'm your host, Lowe's Moore, and I'm excited again to be back with you as we have started off marvelous in season 5 of the Blueprint Podcast. I mean, I can't believe it's been 5 years doing this, and it's been great. It's been awesome. I've learned a lot over these last 5 years, and it's been an amazing journey, right? And I'm really excited. And how many of you guys and now that it's officially summertime, right? We're officially in summer. If you're not in New York, last week, and man, it is hot in New York, right? I used to always call my brothers in North Carolina, and they used to talk about how the weather was hot, right? Well, New York is hot, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm excited. It doesn't make a difference to me. You know why? You know why it doesn't make a difference to me? Because I woke up this morning. And I'm truly thankful to be able to wake up, right, and be in my right mind, right, and you know, my body's good, right. So I'm excited, man. Anytime that God blesses you to see another day, man, it is awesome, right. So I'm making sure that I enjoy each and every day while I can. So again, thank you very much. I want to say this quickly. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you, for your support each and every week on the Blueprint. If you don't mind, you've seen at the end of the intro, you've seen at the end, it says like and subscribe. Lowe's Moore the Blueprint on Facebook, Lowe's Moore the Blueprint on YouTube, right? And don't forget, we on PNN, we on the Fire Stick, and we on Roku, right? Make sure that Phoenix National Network, man, I want to say thank you to them. My man, Philip Reed, right? Amazing guy. Had him on a couple of times. Just awesome. But let's get rolling tonight. I want to start off with my book of the week. Yeah. I like that. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to mention it, but we're going to talk about it a little bit later. So it's called Rucker Basketball Wars, right? The inside story of Rucker basketball with Philip Rucker. We're going to have a conversation a little bit later on about this book, but this is the book of the week. And there's a second one, right, that I found out there called Asphalt Gods, right? It's an oral history of the Rucker tournament. I mean, as you can see up there, we're going to be talking about Rucker all night long. We're going to be rolling on Rucker basketball. It's a very important time in my life, and I'm excited about that. And so let's move forward. I have the word of the week. The word of the week is unsung. As you would remember that a couple of weeks ago, right, I had a good friend of mine, like family, Mike Hammett. He was my unsung hero. Right. That's somebody who does something. Right. And nobody's asking for any praise or any awards or anything. They just do it because, number one, maybe that's their assignment. Maybe they felt led in their heart to be able to help somebody out. It's unsung. Right. I'm not looking for any recognition for it. Right. And my guest tonight. Right. And particularly my guest tonight and his father. Right. He just saw that, kids needed an opportunity. Right. Kids needed a place to go. He provided an opportunity for young people, and right, he didn't ask for any praise. I always say like this, man. You do something that's good, that's something that's wonderful, something that's impactful, right? You don't have to sing your own praises, right? If you do something, man, from your heart, somewhere along the line, somebody's going to give you your flowers. And so that word unsung is important, right? Because there's a lot of people out here doing things, man, because they want something, because they trying to get recognition, because they trying to get money, right? And a lot of time it's hard to find people who do things from their heart today because everybody want to get paid. I'm not saying you shouldn't get paid, right? But hey, there's a lot of people that need help, right? And you might not get a dime for helping. So you're my unsung hero. So my next is the Pierce Harper affirmation moment. Man, I want to talk about Hill Harper. Look out for Hill. I'll talk a little bit more about Hill next week. I want to bring something up about Hill. Very intelligent, very bright, an amazing person. Now, I know he's running for political office, and I want to talk about that, a little bit next week. But this is about the affirmation, right? This is about our affirmation quote moment. And it says, you possess the power to change your thoughts. It is the greatest power, the power to choose, right? And don't let anybody, I'll say this, as I move on, don't let anybody force you to choose things, right, that are not going to be beneficial for you, right? Remember, you hold the power. No matter what happens, you hold the power over your life. You get to make choices. Well, as you get older and you mature, up until that point, I think you ought to listen to your parents, right? If you got good parents, mom and dad, right, and they giving you good advice, let them advise you, let them guide you until you're able to go off on your own, right? Hey, I gotta say that, listen to your mom and dad. I think scripture says, obey your mother and father, right? And you shall live long. You shall have a long life, right? So obey until you mature, right? And able to make decisions on your own. Then you have the power to choose. And then here's my music and movie, right? I love this song. Man, I was thinking about playing this at the end, man. Sometimes you play a song on, I think it's at Facebook or something like that. You play a song and we don't own the rights to it. I just love the song. Wanted to play the song called Champion. Love that song, right? Check that out. It's a gospel song. Check it out. And then the movie is called Rucker 50. Right? Rucker at 50. I mean, it's a documentary on the history of Rucker Park, right? And we're going to talk a lot about that tonight. But it's on Netflix. Check it out on Netflix. And then here's my person of the week, right? The great Willie Mays, right? He's my all-time favorite baseball player, right? I mean, Willie Mays was amazing. I mean, as a little kid, I didn't get the chance to see him when he played with San Francisco, right? But I got a chance to see Willie Mays play with the Mets, and Willie Mays was just an amazing baseball player, amazing hit batter. He was outfield, man. Everybody knows that Willie was famous for what we call the basket catch. He'd be running with his back, the ball is in the air, and he'd be running with his back turned to the ball, and it would go over his head into his glove. I don't even know how. Look, I can't. I had a hard time when I was a little kid catching the ball when it was coming straight at me, let alone to catch a ball and I'm running towards the wall and it's over my head and I have the eyesight to be able to grab that ball. Willie Mays, passed away the other day, passed away last week, 93 years old. Man, the Say Hey kid, he was amazing. And he was a gifted athlete, but as great a player as he was, right, he was even greater as a person. So, and that's really why I looked up to him, because I met him one time. I believe it or not, I did get a chance to meet Willie Mays here in Mount Vernon, New York. They had Willie Mays Day, and he was out doing a little baseball clinic down at Memorial Field in Mount Vernon, New York, and I was down there, and I saw Willie Mays. I mean, hey, it's one of the highlights of your life when you meet a legend like that. So, yeah, just awesome, man, just awesome. Willie Mays is awesome, my person of the week, and so let's roll now. Yeah, not yet. Not yet. You know, I want to get right into this thing. I don't think we have any birthdays. You got any birthdays? No birthdays. So no birthday shout outs right now. And but I want to show you first. Let's first show you Rucker at 50. Let's just show that trailer so you get, that's my movie of the week. I want you to see that trailer, and then I'm going to introduce my guest. I'm going to show something, and we're going to introduce my guest for this evening.
They were hanging tar babies on the flagpole. The police had to take us to classes. I persevered and used the legacy of the guys that I looked up to in the Rucker.
Rucker 50 is a movement. It wasn't as public and publicized as what was going on with Dr. King in Alabama, but what it did was revolutionize how young people looked at themselves and having their own voice and their own space.
Rucker 50 is like basketball royalty too. When you look at the guys that have played there.
Willis Reed, Howard Kohlmeier, Nate Bowman, Dave Stallworth, more than half of the Knicks roster.
They couldn't afford to go to the Garden, but they saw the best talent in the country, right there in the playgrounds of Harlem.
Guys coming from Connecticut, guys coming from Jersey, guys coming from Philly, all to play in this Harlem Rucker tournament. You know, it was real basketball, serious basketball.
I wouldn't even try to compare it with college ball because the games down here are a great deal more physical.
And there was no discrimination. They didn't care if you were white, black, blue, girl, boy, young, old. If you had street cred and you proved it, you were in.
The impact it had on the NBA just shaped the NBA on how the game was and is played.
It was just packed, you know what I mean? And everybody was going to be out there watching the best. So, you know, you wanted to compete and go against the best.
He used his platform. He planted himself. He bore seeds. He bore fruit. And he seeded a whole new generation from his fruit.
Well, there was a whole vibe that I started getting from the East Coast, you know, and that's when hip hop started to really evolve, you know.
That's all part of the charm here at the Rucker Tournament in Harlem.
Here you are, young African-American people, not just boys, but girls too, because that was a space of socialization for them as well. You know, long before there was Twitter and Facebook and Instagram.
When you talk about Rucker Park being at 50, it's a destination and it's a New York landmark, and that's what it's about.
I just love Rucker Park. I love Harlem. It changed my life.
A half a century of complete legacy.
Awesome. Let me, before I show you this next video, let me tell you a quick story. So my mentor, Mr. James Jones, took me and a couple of other guys. We went to Rucker Park. And when we got down there, you know, I had heard so much as a young kid. I had heard so much about Rucker Park. And so when I get down there, I was like, wow, man, it was packed. I mean, it was people everywhere, right? I'm a little guy, man. My mom was saying before we left, you know, you going down in the Bronx, you know, be careful out there. And he's telling Mr. Jones, he's going to be good, right? and Mr. Jones said, yeah, he's going to be good. And we go down there. And you had a bunch of hot dog trucks and ice cream trucks and everything is out there. I mean, it is packed, right? So I'm walking through and Mr. Jones asked me if I wanted something to drink. So now I'm standing in line waiting to get something to drink, and I look up and there's a guy with a he's drinking a soda, right? And I look up, and his hand double wrapped the can. I mean, it went around the can twice. I was standing there as a little kid, and I look up, and Mr. Jones said, "You know who that is?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know who that is." He said, "Who is it?" I said, "That's Connie Hawkins." Right? And he looked down at me, and he was like, "What's up, young fella?" So I mean, and he was waving that ball around in the playground, and all that kind of stuff like that, and doing them little moves, and it was an awesome time, and I'm gonna love tonight. I mean, we're gonna love tonight. We're gonna have a good time. Let me show you this video, and then I'm gonna introduce my guest for this evening. Welcome.
Yeah, 1950 was when Rucker started. But his family always say Rucker started in 1946. 1946 is when he first went into the playgrounds to work for the New York City Department of Parks, because he was in World War II. He came out of World War II and started working for the Parks Department in 1946. And that's when he started working with kids. But for us, our landmark is 1950, when he actually started the tournament. He named his own tournament. Holcomb Rucker, yeah, the trophies. He named his own tournament, Holcomb Rucker. And I asked him why. I said, "Why did you name the tournament Holcomb Rucker?" He said, "Who else am I supposed to name it after?" That's what Rucker told me. I actually asked him, because I read the trophy. It says Holcomb Rucker, basketball tournament. Not knowing the Parks Department didn't put any money into the tournament for him. So I thought he was going to name it after the New York City Department of Parks. But I see why he named it Holcomb Rucker Basketball League. Because he was paying for it. He was backing it. Holcomb Rucker, basketball tournament.
Yes, I want to welcome to the Blueprint Mr. Philip Rucker, the son of the legendary Holcomb Rucker. Mr. Rucker, man, thanks for being a part of the Blueprint this evening.
Oh, that's my pleasure. Absolutely.
Yeah, and let me start out by saying, the other day. Now, I didn't know, I think it was last Friday or the Friday before last, right? It was Friday before last. I think my daughter, Michelle, who's a principal at PS 41 in the Bronx,
That's
right?
correct.
And so I go to her every year since she was a teacher, now the principal of the school. Every year, my wife and I, we always attend the career day, right? They send me this stuff, but they know I'm coming, So I get there and I go into her office and everybody's there and stuff like that. But she made it a point. She was like, "I want to introduce you to somebody." And I was like, "Okay." So he said, "This is Mr. Philip Rucker, right? He's the son of Holcomb Rucker, Rucker Park." I was like, "Oh." That did something to me right there. And we sat down. We were talking about this earlier. We sat down and she was saying, "Introduce yourself." So everybody's, the doctors and nurses and police officers and everybody's introducing themselves. And then Mr. Rucker gets up and he says, "I'm Philip Rucker." He gives his little spell, right? And then he just sits down. So my wife was not my wife, but my daughter was saying like, okay, now we getting ready to go in the thing. I raised my hand, right? I raised my hand. I said, excuse me, could I say something real quick? I said, now we can't just bypass Mr. Rucker like that. I said, we got to talk about this, because some of y'all in here, like y'all young, right? You have no idea who Mr. Philip Rucker is and who his dad was. I got to tell you a little stuff about him. So I got to talk about the importance and power of Rucker Park, Holcomb Rucker. I just couldn't let it pass because that's a part of history, right? And it was just an awesome experience to meet you, right? And we got to share in a couple of classes going around talking about not basketball, but we got the chance to talk about life and talking and speaking into the lives of kids about their future. So Mr. Rucker, Philip, thank you. Thank you for being there. And also I thank you for, you adopting, along with the Bronx Basketball Hall of Fame, adopting my daughter's school as one of you guys' schools. So thanks a lot for that too as well. Awesome, man. So let's talk. So let's talk about, right. You seen, the couple of videos there. So because I'm intrigued, and I didn't ask you to any of this before when we were at the career day, and in our conversation because I wanted to save it, right. So talk about, man, because on the show here each and every week we talk about the importance of family, importance of education, importance of faith. Man, talk about growing up with your mom and dad. I mean, and that whole experience.
Well, growing up with my father was interesting in the sense that on the block that we lived on, everybody on that block moved in at the same time. It was a group of row houses, 222nd Street in the Bronx. And on that block, my father had gotten together with some other people from Harlem, and they had Mr. Jones, who was the director of the Wagner Center on that block, my father. They also had on that block Skinny Reed, who later was a founder of Saboa Referee Association and also became later on a director of the Wagner Center. We were all living on the same block.
Wow.
So that was, so we had Rucker people right there. We started out, my mother was extremely influential because she made sure that we would discipline, we put things first besides basketball. We put things in front of our lives in terms of character. And we put things in front of our lives in terms of having a wonderful family life. Our family life was filled with music. It was filled with love. It revolved around my father. When a lot of people thought that we didn't know him that well, that wasn't true. When he was there, everything stopped, and my mother made sure everybody converged on him and to spend that valuable time together. Some of the things that we used to do was, a lot of people don't realize it, but he used to listen to classical music before going to Rucker Park. One of his favorite pieces, I still listen to it myself, The War of 1812. And Valkyrie, and Tchaikovsky. He used to dance. And what he would do is he'd do the camel walk, and we'd all laugh. My mother would giggle while he was doing that. There she is. she is she went on to become a person who made my life. She made my life what it is today, because I wasn't the most cooperative child when it came to her. Well, it was the truth. I mean, I wanted to be like my dad, didn't know how to be like my dad. And so anytime I couldn't play basketball, I rebelled. And anytime I couldn't stay on a team, I rebelled. And so she went through that process with me, for a couple of years. My father, of course, he supported her, and he supported me also. He understood the dichotomy there. But she brought discipline into my life that later on in life was extremely valuable, and Christian values that were extremely valuable later on also. Later, my father, he became ill with cancer at 16 years old. I was the only one of the children that was allowed to go see him at the hospital, because I was the only one that was mature enough, even though my brother was only a year behind me. And when he asked me on his deathbed before he passed away, he survived several months afterwards, by the way. But he asked me to finish high school. That was his big thing, because that's the kind of mess I was in at the time. Now, he knew I wanted to be like him. He was very much aware of that. Everybody was aware of that. So at 16 years old, I ran a basketball tournament while he was sick, so I could show him that I could take his place maybe one day. Even though that was ridiculous. I was 16. What do you want from me, So he let me run a basketball tournament. I put together a basketball tournament, got the entry fees, got the referees, did everything myself. I thought I did everything. I thought I was the man. But what it really was he had instructed Skinny Reed and others to help make it a success. I didn't know that until years later. My mother told me. But in that tournament, it was one of the greatest high school tournaments ever, though. I think so. Even to this day, we had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in that high school tournament. We had Tiny Archibald in that high school tournament. We had Coke Cannon and Shannon from Boys and Girls High School in that tournament. We had all of the DeWitt Clinton high school team. We had all of the Evander Childs, Monroe, Taft, Commerce, Ray Cotto, Uric Cobb. We had boys and girls. Boys was just boys high school at that time. We had a Erasmus Hall High School, and we had Power Memorial. We had Lou Alcindor at the time, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's Power Memorial. Yes, wow. Indeed. And then I knew that he wanted me to, it was okay with him for me to continue with the legacy the best way I could when he did that. And then he passed away. It was very devastating for me. By the way, I had a team in there myself, my own team. as well as I coached that team and as captain of that team at 16.
And did you play too?
Yes, I did. I was
You was the play. He was the player coach.
Yeah, I was player coach and running the tournament. And what happened was when he passed away, I was at the laundromat, and Pete Sherman, who's one of my best friends, he came and got me. He passed away and said, I'll take the clothes home. My grandmother and grandfather were in the car. So I knew, I just knew it was time, you know. He took me home. Then my mother made the announcement that my father had passed. And I was so upset and angry. I said, why couldn't it have been me? Why couldn't I have been the one to die? Why did it have to be him? That's how I felt at the time, you know?
Yeah.
And then after that, I went into the military at 17. And because I was three handfuls. And my Uncle Jimmy, my father's brother, he looked out for me while I was in the military. He went to Vietnam 3 times, Bronze Star winner, Vietnamese Medal of Honor. He was with the Montagnard tribesmen. He just passed away 6 months ago, and it was the last of the Rucker family block, my father's siblings that passed. He looked out for me over the years, and was really, he was the youngest child, youngest son, youngest brother of Holcomb Rucker.
Wow.
I loved him very much. And also, when I came out the military, I came home, and my mom, she had remarried, and I stayed for about a year, I guess, and looked after my brother and sister, and then I moved on, and pretty much the rest of my life, I was on my own as an adult person.
Yeah.
Made mistakes, but you know they still were Rucker people around like Bob McCullough. He and I used to fight a lot because I wanted the tournament and the legacy, and he was running it, and he used to that I was insulting him. But it was all love. It's all love, you know.
Yeah, and so what, you know, to sustain it. I mean, to be able, Mr. McCullough was sustaining it while, you know, after your father had passed.
Well, what had happened was after my father passed, after he passed, the reality set in of people want power, people want money. That's just life. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, whatever. A lot of people think it's, you know, just based upon race. It's not just based upon race. It's based upon the way human beings are built character-wise as human beings. And so the tournament, my father had pros, unlimited, college, high school, middle school, and biddies. We used to call them biddies, and we used to call it the junior high school midgets. Today, that's that's unacceptable. You can't call them kids midgets, you know. But
well, I guess that's with everybody, because when I was growing up in the Boys and Girls Club, we were biddies,
Yeah.
midgets, juniors, intermediates.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it was a the flavor of the day, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So so anyway, everybody clashed. It's in the book Rucker Basketball Wars, by the way. I talk
Yeah,
about all.
so that was
Yeah.
my book of the week, Record Wars, and so yeah, keep going. Yes.
So what happened was after that, after they broke it up, the tournament into pieces, and this one took some, and that one took some. McCullough, he took the pros, okay, and everybody, and my mom, she was basically left out of everything. She had 3 kids, and she had no money, and it was a very tough situation. I believe in my heart that it turned her bitter in some ways because she was just a good woman, Christian woman who was just an honest person and lived her life in an honest manner. And we have this was a macho male dominated entity, the Rucker tournament. We had strong men, strongest men available. I'm not talking about on the court. I'm talking about in terms of charisma, intelligence. My father was leading a group of brilliant men and women, and with lifetime mentorship. Not just mentorship, but lifetime mentorship. That was different too. But my mother, she got caught in that, and nobody really intervened in her behalf. So that's how that went growing up. I didn't get my high school diploma, by the way, until I was 70 years old.
How old?
70 years old.
Wow.
Because I owe that to my dad and everything, and I spent 3 years getting that. But along the way, I became a licensed practical nurse because back then you used to get these programs to go to college and things like that. A lot of times they didn't even ask you for your high school diploma. So I took college credits. I became a licensed practical nurse. I went to college in New Rochelle. I went to New York City Tech. I went to Kingsborough in Brooklyn. I went to upstate New York, where ran into a program there that was supposed to take me to Syracuse University, but instead they were taking the veterans' monies. And when that happened, my son Chris, his mother, she came and followed me up there, and she's still there. She's still there.
She's still in Albany?
No, in Syracuse.
In Syracuse? Oh,
She's
okay.
still there all these years, yes. Nice, beautiful person. She has a lovely husband. Matter of fact, I talked to her quite a bit. She's very supportive of what I'm doing right now. She thinks it's the right thing to do. She thinks it's past time, you know?
Right.
Anyway, I raised Chris as he grew up. He was something of an issue for her. And so I came into his life when he became an adolescent. And I asked her, could I take him as a single father? We went to court, and they said yes. I took him. He's also heavily involved in Rucker legacy, and in a good way. He's got his degree now, and he's into computer technology heavily. He was the first one, according to Stacey Maris of the Greg Maris family,
Mm-hmm.
to bring network television to Rucker Park. My son
Awesome.
Chris. Very proud of that. My son Sharif, he was a principal at Hoka High School in Soundview. And now the high school no longer exists, but he was the founder, and school was going well. But then they kicked him upstairs to be in charge of high schools, environment, and cultural events, cultural affairs, whatever. And so he lives out in Valley Stream, and he's a wonderful person. I have five children. Kamal he's the same age as Chris. I adopted Kamal. His father played in the Rucker. I filled my name in on his birth certificate, and later on I had to tell him that I wasn't his biological father when he grew to 6'8". So I told him, you can keep the name or not keep the names, up to him. I said, I love you still. You're still my son, you know?
Right.
And I found his father for him. His mom and me found his father for him, and found his other siblings and everything. So that was good. That was great. He's now been to over 40 countries, and he's a world citizen, and he's been working for the government for years. And he's probably my most brilliant son out of all of my brilliant sons. Then there's Ian. Ian, he's a owner operator truck driver, and owns his own truck. And then there's Antoine, Carmen's son, my wife. He's an owner operator truck driver. He's been with me since he was 16. He's in his 40s now. Then my daughter, the last but not least, Ramona. She was named after my sister, who passed away. And Ramona, I'm most proud of her. She was 14 when she got pregnant, because I had the boys with me, but I couldn't take the girl too. And so we worked it out, her mother and me, and where her mother lived very close, and I made sure that she got every opportunity her mother could give her, and I could give her. And she now has her college degree and halfway finished her master's, and has 3 children, and 2 of them, 2 younger ones, and they're brilliant children. And I think that's what my father wanted me to do, wanted anything, to make sure that his grandchildren got the support that they needed. And I did that. And I'm happy about that.
So,
and how they turned out.
Yeah, if we digress for a moment, talk about like what made your father get start this whole. Well, I guess he was working for the Parks and Recreation. Yes. No.
Yes.
And so what while working, I guess what was his thoughts about how he could use this, what he was doing, to be a benefit for the community?
Well, he's first of all, understand my father was well known in the Harlem community prior to him going into World War II. Okay, he had a group of people. They were a club.
That's like a motorcycle club, right?
And they were called the Pink Shirts.
The pink shirts. Okay. All
The Pink
right.
Shirts. They were clean, and he was the leader. And when he came out the military, he he had changed. The war had changed him, and they went through the war, fought for the country, came back, and still the segregation, Jim Crow, and all the rest of that. So what he did was he had a burning desire inside his brain and vision that he couldn't get out of his brain. And so he just started implementing. And it kept on growing, and he kept on seeing things that needed to be put together in this puzzle he was puzzling out these he was solving the puzzle, taking the pieces and putting them together. What he did was first of all, he started with basketball in the summertime. That was a no-no. Everybody loves my father today, but back then, everything he did was considered wrong by many people. He had to go. My father had to go in the summertime and start a basketball tournament. And people said, well, basketball's winter sport. It's a winter sport. What are you doing? You don't have basketball in the summer. He did it anyway. They said, okay, so the schools closed at 3:00 all around the city. You went to St. Philip's Church, then later on Douglas Junior High School. And he said, give me the keys to the school afterwards. I'm an employee here. So if you give me the keys and everything, you could rely on me. And let me get some of these kids off the streets. Teach them some basketball. So people like Bob McCullough, Bobby Hunter from the Globetrotters, Pamela Robinson, and Freddie Crawford, played for the Knicks, and others. He would have them in the gym, and he would talk to them about life. He talked to them about school. He talked to them about education. He talked to them about character, and he talked to them mainly about they didn't owe him anything, but what they did owe was to give back to other people. Whatever he helped them with. Wound up sending over 700 people to college. Those 700 people, that was a new concept. Education through sports. Education through basketball. That was like a new concept. After school programs, that's like a new concept. He's pioneering these things. One after another. So what he's doing is talking to him in the basement at him and my mom's house. He's telling me he's creating a platform for success for our people and for people that is simple and can be duplicated. So nobody over the years had figured out, though, which is one of the reasons why, like you said, it became like a fable, or it became like a legend, a legendary fable, or it became like a mystical journey. of stories, but nobody had identified what it was that he was. And what he was, I put that in one word. That was stoic. Just like Plato, just like Socrates, just like Pythagoras, he was a stoic. Bob McCullough is a stoic. You are a stoic. A stoic is nothing more than somebody that sees a problem, gives back, and then when they give back, excuse me, when they give back, they don't do it for money or anything else. They just do it because of the fact that's how they want to live. They know that there's always going to be good in the world. They know there's always going to be evil in the world. They always know there's going to be indifference in the world. The good thing about Christianity, because my father and my mother used to send us to church every Sunday. Me, a lot of times I didn't go into church. I used to get the program and bring it home. Till the pastor called, you know. Yeah, well, anyway. By the way, that Rucker 50, Bob McCullough's son did that movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Bob McCullough Jr. Bob McCullough Jr. and I went there, and Stacy Marius from the Entertainers Basketball Classic. We went down with Bobby Hunter a few months back in the summertime, and was it last year? Last year, yeah. Late last year, and when we went down into Landmark Rucker Park. So it was important that the three families were together. I came up with that concept because remember I told you in the beginning that they had separated.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that was then, like I said, Rucker basketball wars.
Yeah.
It created warfare around the legend. So, like you were saying in Mount Vernon, y'all had one of the top tournaments in the country. This is after the Rucker, but y'all had one of the top tournaments in the country. That's what that warfare creates. It creates opportunities for others. But life still goes on in a positive manner.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody wants to deal with the pros or the entertainers and the politicians or what I wanted to do. I came back because my sons had went as far as they could go without their personal lives were still accelerating. But so far as the Rucker, they would kind of reach a glass ceiling of sorts. And I knew that I had to come back to the Rucker legacy because I knew only I could break the glass ceiling. Like Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
And that glass ceiling for me is exactly what my father was doing before. And that is people putting aside their own personal grievances, their own personal ambitions, and their own personal egos, and learn that if we do it together, that things will be better off. And if we do it like that, then I personally will not try to stop anybody from using the Rucker name that's been using it or building their careers off of it, it's okay. But we need to come together for the people that this name represents locally, regionally, nationally, internationally, and globally.
Yeah. And the thing I like about it is that when we were talking at the school, you know, you put out an olive branch on behalf of the legacy of your dad, right? Because, you know, people could be, you could still go in there and fight with them. Hey, this is my name. Why are you using it? You know, and we were having a discussion. But before we start that conversation, right? Before we start that conversation, let's briefly talk about some of the players that your dad was able to, because I mentioned it to you earlier. Many people think I played in the Rucker. I never played in the Rucker, right? But I did play. One of the programs was called Each One, Teach One, because I was young then, and that was one of the programs where the high school players used to come, you know, on a Saturday, particularly during the morning time. We used to always go down there and play the games at Each One, Teach One, and which was cool. I got a chance to see people play in the Rucker, and I got a chance to play in Each One, Teach One. And as I mentioned earlier, right? As I mentioned earlier, that by the time I got to, you know, whatever status I had been able to create, it was Mount Vernon started to have its own tournament, right? And then people start to engage in that tournament. So talk about some of those, you know, those players, man. How did your dad, before we move to what you're currently doing? I see you got your Each One. He went and got his Each One, Teach One jacket. I love it. Before we talk about Each One, Teach One, talk about some of the very special players, because I had mentioned to you I had played that Pee Wee Kirkland, right, had come to play in the park. I mean, he was an older version of himself, but we had heard about him. You know, the helicopter, right? Yeah. I think we had a picture of the helicopter, and then it was what's the other gentleman's name? Yeah, Herman the helicopter. You know, talk about some of those guys. Pee Wee Kirkland. You talked about Kareem. That's Kareem. That's Pee Wee Kirkland. And this is
Joe Hammond.
Joe Hammond. I remember when Joe Hammond came down. He's with Kobe Bryant right there. I remember when Joe Hammond came. Of course, he was not, you know, the younger version of himself, but he was still balling, man. I don't even know how old he was, and I know I was in high school. But when he came, they said, "Man, yeah, that's Joe Hammond." I was like, "What?" And that's Nate Tiny Archibald right there, you know. And man, look, these guys was balling back then, man. You know, if you can play in the Rucker, you can play in Each One, Teach One, right? You good, right? If you got invited down, there's Dr. J right there, and a number of NBA players, you know, down there at the Rucker Park. And then, man, I mean, people are balling. Yeah, people are balling. I mean, and then people came to see games that were sitting on top of the roof. I mean, you know, to watch I don't even know how that was legal back then, that people could just sit up on top of a roof. I mean, we had the picture of Dr. J, the color picture, because most of them are in black and white. But, yeah. And I was actually down there the one time Dr. J was playing. And they was calling him all kind of names. You know, they was calling him, you know, the Claw. They was, you know, because he had the big hands. And, you know, they was calling him all kind of names out there. They didn't know what to call him. But, man, people were coming to see the doctor. I came to see the doctor. And I remember that time when he went over to the table. He said, he said, this is before he started doing stuff. You know, he said, call me Dr. J. Right? and the guy was laughing on the mic. He told me to call him Dr. J, and they was making fun of him and stuff like that. And he snatched that that rebound out there with the one hand, came down and like windmill that thing, and then the guy screamed out, "Is there a doctor in the house?" like that, and they started calling him Dr. J. Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, it brings back so many wonderful memories. I don't know if anybody has any memories out there, whether you played in the Rucker or whether you went to see a game at the Rucker. Man, how amazing it was for you. Is that Mike Sneed? Joe Hammond? Yeah, I mean, just awesome. So, talk about some of those players, man, that your dad was able to attract, man.
Well, Pablo Robinson was one of the greatest ball handlers that I've ever seen, and greatest passes I've ever seen. He wasn't lightning fast, but he could go wherever he wanted to go on the court, wherever he wanted to go on the court. He was an artist. Let's start here. Before Joe and Pee Wee will tell you this. It was Clinton and Ham from the Harlem Wizards. Clinton and Ham, they were with Joe and Pee Wee back in the 50s. And then you had Shaq Sanders from the Boston Celtics.
Whew. Yeah.
We got the reputation and started a trend. My father pioneered a trend where people that got in trouble, had issues, were blackballed, they got to play at the Rucker. Like Connie Hawkins, Roger Moore, Roger Brown,
Roger Brown, yeah.
And Tiny's mentor, Floyd Lane.
Floyd Lane.
They all had gotten caught up with some BS guy that got them thrown out of basketball because they were supposed to be gamblers. It wasn't true. They were young, but they were seen with the guy, you know?
Yeah.
And so for years, they played at the Rucker. Before the Rucker, you had the Naismith crowd. The Naismith crowd, Naismith started with Peach Basket, started with dirt courts. And he invented the logistics of basketball and the parameters of it. But it was modern basketball where, yeah, you're right. Wally Serbiak and the Doc would battle. Yeah. His dad, they showed this. Wally Serbiak's dad was a monster. Yeah, so they went and later on Pee Wee and Joe came. Pablo was before Pee Wee and Joe. Walter Robinson was in my age group. Walter Robinson was scoring 26 points a game at Loyola, Chicago. Pablo's younger brother. Yeah, he was something else. He totally different game though. Power game. We had Bob McCullough. To me, Bob has his own way of looking at things. And I would never take away from that. But for me, the biggest thing that Bob did was he created the NBA and the ABA merger, him and Freddie Crawford. Now, Bob, there's other things that he thinks are more important to him. But as far as I'm concerned, that's huge. That's huge. And how he did it, and Freddie did it, was they had the mobile oil, and they had the games at City College Gymnasium, and they put out hundreds of thousands of dollars and flew the teams in. I'm talking about the whole Chicago Bulls. I'm talking about Chet Walker, Bob Love, the whole bit. Okay, Norm Van Lier, everybody. Same thing with the Detroit. Same thing with the Nets. They were the New Jersey Nets. They had Dr. J and Larry Keenan.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Keenan was Dr. J. He only could use one hand, the right.
Yeah.
But everything else, and he's a little bit taller even. They had Billy Pless. He played from Mount Vernon.
Yes.
Yes, against that crew. You know, and he was an unknown. He was just coming out of college. They had
University of Detroit.
Yeah. They had
And he's talking about Mount Vernon now. He's talking about Billy Plaz.
Yeah.
His record name was the Human Fly Swatter.
Yeah. And listen, we watched him dunk. When he would dunk, he could dunk with his head level to the basket. You know, like his head is level to the basket while he's dunking. You know, and that was crazy. No, that was crazy. He was a tweener. You know, he wasn't totally a number 3 or small forward, and he wasn't totally a number 2. He was just a ball player.
That's right.
He was a ball player. Then they had Tiny Archibald. They had Artis Gilmore. Yeah. So you had this conglomeration of the Virginia Squires there and the New Jersey Nets, which was at that time an ABA team. And so you had all playing against the NBA teams. And the ABA teams had a wide open game. The NBA teams were still restricted in the Naismith model.
Right.
Okay. Whereas the ABA, because they needed to get publicity, they were more like the Rucker model.
Yeah, definitely.
So these guys was flying. They was fast breaking. Yes. And Larry McNeil. Larry McNeil was 6'8", 6'9", and used to run with his head to the side, sort of like that. and he'd be killing you and everything with those 10 to 12 foot jumpers, and he could be in a slam dunk contest himself. Yeah. So,
I remember Larry McNeil.
Yeah. Then there was Hawthorne Wingo.
Oh yeah, Hawthorne Ringo.
Emmett Causey. Yeah. Like Emmett Causey was in Nick's backcourt with Comize. They were the ones that come in the second backcourt. Yeah. Then they had when the people was up there on the roofs and in the buildings, out the windows, it's all illegal now. You know that, right?
Yeah, on the fences.
It's all illegal now. But you know, I was there, and on that by the way, on that tournament with the Harlem Professionals, that's what they call themselves then. But it's still each one teach one basically. But there's Harlem Professionals. I was in charge of the scores table, and Roger Murray, who's the timekeeper for the Knicks, and Dilly passed away. They were there. on that sports table. Hey, hi, I remember you. I remember you. You were at your mommy's school. Yes,
It's
you were at your
Dakota.
mommy's school with your daddy. Yes.
You remember him?
The fireman. Your daddy, the fireman.
Yes.
Yes. Hi. And you went to the carnival too.
I can see you.
Yeah. Hey, some more. There's some more. Oh boy.
There go Hartley. We took the picture with Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh yeah. I got a picture with Chuck E. Cheese too. You know.
I saw that picture with Chuck E. Cheese.
Yes. Yeah, and Miss Martin got a picture of that.
Watch your cord.
Bye guys.
There's Michelle right there.
Hey, there's my Shiro.
She's a Shiro.
Hey.
You said hi, Michelle.
I'm a champion.
Where's Michelle at?
I'm your daughter's
Michelle?
champion, you know. Your daughter may be a champion. You know that, right? Oh, wow. This is great. How you doing, Principal Maynard?
That's okay. He can still tell. He can hear you talking.
How are you, Principal Maynard?
I'm doing good. Getting ready for work tomorrow.
Yeah. I snuck in. You told me to send him a treatment, right? So I snuck in a lot of stuff from your school, you know.
Oh, good job. Nice shout out.
I tell you, I'm a good champion for you. I tell you.
Thank you.
I'm a good champion. The children chose me as their champion. You let me be the champion. I take that seriously.
Much appreciated.
Oh my God. I want you.
All right.
She was at the carnival.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mommy, I want to put it on my ear.
Boy, the carnival was fantastic. They had bouncy houses. They had ninja block bouncy houses. They had you knock down the what do you call it, the bottles and whatnot. Metal bottles.
Oh, like the milk cans.
Yeah, milk cans with the bean bags.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, on the TV.
You are on the TV.
I got a tattoo.
I want to tie
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I want to tie yours top up. I want to tie yours.
Hey, we had a drop by.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
That's okay. No, that was good. That was good. So you know, time is going down. There you go with Chuck E. Cheese and my girl right there.
Yeah.
I call her Miss Fantastic.
Yeah. Hey, yes. That's my first vice president. Yeah, let's talk about what you guys as we come, you know, starting to wind down, right? Let's talk about what you're doing now, some of the things that you guys are doing now. That olive branch that we mentioned about earlier, right? I mean, somebody could be upset about all the things that happen around, Rucker. Hold on, baby, before you get that far. But I was really impressed with you trying to pull everybody together on behalf of who your dad was, right? And all the philosophies, ideas, and all that you guys are doing now to talk to young people, encourage young people, and to help young people develop their character and help young people to see the importance of why they should be educated, right? So talk about, you got Phil Rucker presents FCS Incorporated. Talk about what you guys are doing now, what your vision is now. Well, my vision is to complete the dream of Hope and Rucker. And in order to do that, I want to try to keep it simple and duplicatable. And I also want to make sure that everything, learn from the mistakes that he made and other people made in the past. What I mean by that is uh, I've done a lot of work over the last 4 or 5 years putting together the pieces that need to be put together in the puzzle like he did so that we could go forward from right now where we're at, and we're ready to go. And I couldn't have done that if I didn't go talk to Bob McCullough and Freddie Crawford. So we had a series of dinners up in Harlem and Sylvia's and other places. And the Marriott sisters, Greg Marriot's sisters, his older sisters. And we came to an agreement I would lead on this endeavor. But whatever I got going, I would share. Also, whatever is theirs is theirs. And like Dawn, she has a legacy of her own self. Her legacy is that her aunt was 15 years the director of the president of the Manhattan NAACP, for instance, and other things. So people, I guess it's because of Ancestry.com and everything, everybody is into their own legacies now today. So you let people have their own legacies, their own organizations, their own reputations as they've built it. What we do is we go back to what my father did, and we start having a platform like Google or Amazon or whatever. Rucker becomes a platform. You imprint on the platform so that we can help people locally, regionally, nationally, internationally, and globally. Because Rucker's loved all over the world. We need to make sure that we put a system in place that operates. Okay, yeah, there you go. In this particular slide here, this is Dawn's idea. So Dawn keeps that idea. And it'll be with Fundamental Community Solutions, but it's her idea, and she'll be directing the idea. I'll just make sure that it works for her. And that's why we went and got the Bronx Basketball Hall of Fame, because they have a lot of Rucker people in the Bronx Basketball Hall of Fame. So it's a natural fit. This is with the Dr. Whirling group, who is on standby. We were here. This particular group, they were from Staten Island, and we helped sponsor that Fundamental Community Solutions, which is I'm the founder of and FCS, and we want to do just what we said: fundamental community solutions.
So I want to add your you said that one of the board members, or
the board members?
No. Who's the person we're gonna pop on?
Oh, they're my consultants.
Okay.
For Phil Rucker Presents, and the ad hoc committee for the Fundamental Community Solutions to bring resources.
Okay.
And everything is set up, and they're very interesting people.
Mm-hmm. Bring it on. All right. Gotta get you off mute. Sasha, how you doing? I'm Lowe's Moore, of course.
Thanks.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. I hope everybody's having a wonderful night.
Oh yeah. Now we talking about the Rucker. We talking about Rucker. We good.
That's right. That's right. Greetings, Mr. Rucker. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. doing the best I can. You know me.
That's right. That's right. So, Dr. World Group, we're here. We support the work that's being done because Mr. Rucker provides us the support to be able to contribute to overcoming dehumanization. And that's what Dr. World Group does internationally, globally, and regionally. So we're always here to support that great work and appreciate the support he provides us to be able to make that happen across the world.
Oh, that's awesome. When you're talking globally, that's awesome.
Oh, definitely. We're in exciting projects, programs, and initiatives that, we're able to do because Phil has been able to bring forth the piece that worked in time immemorial when it comes to sports and sports equity, when it comes to being able to recognize actual work being done with youth, in addition to getting the adults coming together to support that initiative. So we're excited to bring forward the work that we're doing. He's supporting us in our martial arts coalition to bring that on the international stage. He understands the importance of proprietorship, so he supports us in the work that we're doing in intellectual property protections and just being able to share our platform and work together is a great ability to cooperatively make a difference in the world.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I love it because he was at my daughter's school at the career day, and we
Yes.
we met there, and I we talked for a while throughout the day before it ended. But at the end of it, when I looked at him, I saw this olive branch,
Mm.
right, and I saw a person who could, in some degrees, could be very angry, right? But then I kind of seen this dove and this olive branch. I mean, somebody that was saying, "Hey, do what you do. We all in this together, because if we are fighting, nobody benefits from it." You know what I'm
Definitely.
saying? And then everybody becomes an island unto themselves, where there's power in the unity of it.
Definitely. I think
Yeah,
we come from a time where we're just celebrating Juneteenth, and that speaks to that nature of how our heritage has always come together and made a difference in our longevity. And so it is that proper time to say, hey, um, let's not fight amongst each other. Let's get into a space and place where we can give gold to the children and not PTSD and hurt feelings and a bag of nonsense to the children to raise up and try to figure out for the future. So
yeah,
we're appreciative of Mr. Rucker for standing with us and being able to give that to the children in the different programs and projects that we're doing.
right. Awesome, man. I mean, yeah, Mr. Rucker, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to just say that um, since your daughter's there, his daughter's there, Principal Maynard,
Hmm.
Sasha.
Yes.
If we had to, if I had given her more notice, and Dawn had given her more notice, they would have came there representing the World Conference of Mayors, and they would have looked into bringing resources to the school. So the next time that I come to the school and everything, I want to make sure that they're invited also, so that because they are a big part of the resources that are going to help myself also to do what I'm trying to do.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah,
And
that is a
I
blessing.
say anything wrong, Sasha?
Listen, let's be honest, this world is coming into such a space where since COVID, economics has changed and people's intentions and their focus has changed. What we do is we work cooperatively. We ask those that want to work with us to support in contributing to overcoming dehumanization, because that's what actually is affecting us all around the world. And how we can decide what that looks like for our community can decide what the successes look like through that process. So yeah, we would love to be able to be invited into a space that contributes to overcoming dehumanization. And yes, we would love to be able to get the support to get that done because that looks like strengthening our youth in our project programs and initiatives and being able to create the grand logistics that's needed for adults to kind of come together cooperatively and figure out the real solutions through our formulas.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
that
one of
that
the greatest examples is the Holcomb Rucker, how he come together, how he brought everyone together for these tournaments. And these tournaments were not just playing basketball. You were able to learn a trade. You were able to learn business. You were able to have connections and networking and so on and so forth. We want to be able to repeat that in a different field in addition to supporting the youth. So yes, we will come when we're invited, where everyone understands that we need to get over this dehumanization, and how we can do this is coming together to work together in that space. So thank you so much for that, Mr. Rucker.
yeah.
Hey,
Yeah. I tell you, I felt that spirit right away.
Lowe's, we broken bread together at my place. We've spent all night up planning. Uh, they have never let me down. They have come on short notice. I've gone all the way to, it was it Inglewood, New Jersey,
We're all
or
over, definitely. Yes.
United Nations, and Bobby Hunter introduced us and put us together.
Awesome.
So I just want to say, Bobby Hunter is my mentor, my main mentor at Rucker. And despite what people think about him, the man is a great visionary.
Hmm.
And that's why we're doing things and we're talking about the world, because the world needs help.
Mm.
That's why the United Nations and Rucker is all over the world. But in order to do that, we need people that do what they do well, working with families and children, to come and be able to go to other places besides just where they're at. And the Whirling Group, they'll make sure that the expenses are paid for and that, a little something comes back.
Okay, let's make that correction.
Uh-oh.
Let's make that correction.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Okay. Because, and we have to speak honestly and transparently. Projects and programs, initiatives work when people come together and bring forth their resources honestly and share their information honestly. And in that space, we're able to produce the great answers that is needed in the community. So, and that looks like different forms of resources in addition to actual monetization. Our aim is to understand that as a people, we shouldn't be doing things without the value of our monetization ability to create sustainability for the community. And I want everybody to understand and focus on that. Sustainability is of importance and is of value, so it needs to be invested in. We can't look around. We are the hands that need to fix these things, and we are the hands that come together to get it done.
Don't look elsewhere. Like she said, in my heart, don't look elsewhere. Now, I told them how I felt about things. I gave them my paperwork to look at and everything, and they designed the platform that'll work with the bureaucracies that are out here and the people are out here in a professional manner.
Mm. I like that.
Well, thank you. We definitely create the frameworks with strategies of infrastructure to be able to make that happen. I definitely want to thank you for mentioning Bobby Hunter, because again, that's another example of great work strengthening the community. And so this is what he's out here in his days to be able to make a difference, strengthening the community through projects, programs, and initiatives focusing on health, wellness, and youth empowerment. So we're in good company. And so once we continue doing that, again, contributing to overcoming dehumanization, you'll find a shift and change immediately.
Mm.
Also, I'd like to mention that we all are involved with FOPAL also.
Yes, you took the words right out of my mouth there, Mr. Rucker. FOPAL, bringing love and peace to Harlem. And it's going to be coming to Harlem for the first time, recognizing leading with love and peace, with Dr. Hung coming in to ring the bell of love and peace from around the world. Now, this message has come again with the issue of being able to bring health, wellness, wealth, and youth empowerment through being able to deliver this love and peace. He's showing his scarf. I appreciate that so much.
he got all the stuff. He got his jacket. He got his scarf. He got everything.
Definitely. Definitely. This message of love and peace is a very serious message. It's gone throughout the globe. You'll find it in the various countries, in addition to here in the United States, focusing on consciousness in the United Nations. And so it's a real resolution, it's a real action and frequency that we connect to be able to say, have love and peace for the health, wellness, and the youth empowerment that's needed for our communities here, regionally, and internationally. We want to be able to have the youth come together at a point because they are going to be the leaders and be able to empower them. And with the World Conference of Mayors supporting that initiative too, we'll be able to reach even further the message in action and implementation.
I like
The
I
nations
like
united
that.
for peace.
Could you
The
repeat that? I
nations
didn't hear.
united for peace.
You broke up. Did,
He
did
said
you
the
hear?
nations united for peace.
That's right. So we're on. You're right. Thank you for mentioning that. But we are on the same page, and we look forward to working with you all. And please reach out because it's important to be able to get this done.
Yeah. Well, Sasha, I
Those
thank you.
all this was done prior to where we're at now, intentionally. So now that we're here, we're ready. Everything is ready to go. It's past due, ready to go. But they know sometimes I'm a little slow in making decisions because I just want to make sure things are right. And but they've been ready to go for months now.
Awesome,
And
man.
your daughter's school and that Dawn's Children's Champion to Choose, that could be a monster. And I'm working on something right now for that, a fundraising outline. I think you got that, Sasha, part of it, right?
Yes, and I do say, like we mentioning, to move forward with projects, initiatives, and programs. We're even also accessing some science programs to initiate youth to get involved in. So be on the lookout, and we'll share that information and make sure everybody has a piece and be able to strengthen the community's equity.
Awesome.
And we use Lowe's. We use Phil Rucker. The reason we use Phil Rucker so there won't be any. It's not an ego thing, but it's to make sure that we keep it where we can use it whenever we want it, in order to make sure that this keeps moving and
Yeah.
everything, so that way everybody else can keep what they got and they can still be part of things. So
No.
that's why we're doing that. It's not an ego thing, though.
Yeah, I like it though. I mean, I like it because, again, you allowing people to be separate entities, to number one, either be blessed together, right, and then have an opportunity to be blessed, separately as well, as seen fit. So yeah, it's a very powerful model that needs to be duplicated.
Well, also, I don't know if Sasha wants to talk about it, but we Sasha, I'm talking about protection.
Well, what form of protection? There's many forms of protection. We hope that everybody understands that when we're talking, there's many forms. When we're talking about contributing to overcoming dehumanization, that is a level of protection that we're talking about for our communities across the world. When we're talking about what they find important, how they're being dehumanized, and how we can shift that. So definitely, protections are within that formula to be able to bring that forward. So when those that are there get involved even further and deeper into the process, they understand the different aspects that can be contributed to that space. So yes, they're within that whole sentence, within that whole work, we must do the job of protecting our youth and our adults doing the work for our youth.
Well, Sasha, I want to say thank you for popping on. We're about to close out, and I want to know more. I want to hear more. I want to see it happen. Right. I want to see it come to everything to come to a reality. I mean, and we need it. Yeah, we need it locally, but we need it globally because there's so many things going on all around the world. So that most of us never hear about.
We got Mount Vernon included.
All right, all right. I'm good with that.
We got Mount Vernon included. Yeah, we do.
So Sasha, thank you very much for popping on.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for the invite. And yes, we're doing it now. So we'll be together. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. So, Mr. Rucker, I'm going to show you one last slide here, babe. Can you show that one slide? You got the sign up, say Rucker Park. It's like a drawing. You want me to grab it? I'll grab it right there. Right there.
Yes.
So what's the vision of that as we come to a close here?
Okay. The Parks Department came up with $6.2 million to renovate Rucker Park. Public-private funds. I'm pushing for public-private funds. Sasha, as you can see, she knows about this. What I wanted to do was have in the front of Rucker Park a billboard like they have at 42nd Street, one on the side of Rucker Park where they have the big roadway coming off from the elevated roadway coming off from Willis Avenue Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And one in the back facing Hip Hop Hall of Fame and the Yankee Stadium, and I want statues. Right now they talk about a bust of my father. I wanted to have statues of my father and family. You saw that. A statue of Bob McCullough and Freddie Crawford, each one teach one, and a statue of Greg Marius. Those three statues, and then the rest of it, there'd be whisper benches where you could speak on one part of the bench and you could hear 30 feet, just as if the person's talking to you. They had that at Prospect Park. I mean, at Botanical Gardens in Brooklyn. So that's pretty much it, and so right now. I've been that's for my wife. She's coming tomorrow, huh?
Yeah, don't leave her out.
No, sorry. Yeah, so right now, there's people don't really want what I want. They say I'm jumping the gun, but if we don't do it now, they're gonna landmark Rucker Park through Congressman Espliat, and once they landmark it, then you can't change what you do in the park. Because so I'm saying let's do it now. Let's change it to what I'm talking about, and then Sasha and other friends of mine, they'll start getting that monies in the World Conference of Mayors and United Nations and whatnot. But you got to have faith.
Yes, sir. Well, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you, man, for really taking the time, man, to share this, because I'm really excited about. Don't worry about it. I do want to show one video. Is Leon. Let me show this one video. I thought it was funny. What was the name of that movie Leon was in? What was it? No. Above the Rim.
Okay. Yeah.
Above the Rim, man, And I want to show you this real quick. He showed up at Rucker Park. Here, I want to show you this. Oh man, you remember that scene from Above the Rim?
Yes.
Yeah, he showed up. Yeah, he showed up. I think it was Was it this year or last year? When he showed up there?
I would like to make a request.
Yes, sir.
Could you bring me back one day?
Oh yeah.
The reason why I say that is because I want to talk about the difference about what we have planned and what happened to Above the Rim. Not Above the Rim, but what do you call it? And One.
Okay.
And One, yes. And discuss how these ball players have been left out in the cold. You had mentioned about when you see players that are older and things they might have went through. Where's the support for them? That's part of what we have planned, and I would like to just talk about how we can fix some of that.
Okay, sounds good to me. So is that maybe we done? All right. So
okay. Tell Principal Maynard I said see you soon.
Oh, okay. So hold on for a second. I'm gonna close out. So I want to say thank you, everyone. We went over a little bit, but that's okay because this whole Rucker thing, man, is about to blow up even more, right? We're going to connect the past with the present. There's a lot of current things happening, man. The legendary Holcomb Rucker, he's not here with us, but the dream and the vision still lives on. So, Mr. Philip Rucker, thank you very much, man. It was my pleasure to have you on this evening, and it was great meeting you. And I look forward to doing some things in the future as well.
Well, I'd like to thank you for letting me be around your family, your wonderful family. That is special for me. Thank you.
You're welcome. And to each and every one of you out there, I want to say thank you for your comments. I want to say thank you for your support. Man, I love you guys, man, and I look forward to seeing you next week. And I say this each and every week, man, if the Lord allows you to wake up tomorrow, make tomorrow your masterpiece. God bless you and good night.
God bless you. Good night.
Good night.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Lowe's More, the Blueprint Podcast. Stay connected and follow us at our website, www.lowesmore.com. That's LOWESMOORE.com. You can also join the discussion on Twitter at Lowe's More and on Facebook at Lowe's More Jr. As always, thank you for pushing your mindset towards a better reality. This concludes the most thought-provoking portion of your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast to stay fully up to date with everything we're up to. Until next time, be kind to yourself and each other.
What they teaching is a joke. I ain't buying it like I'm broke. Insufficient funds for insignificant.